Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the massive crash that has taken place recently on Bitcoin, where Bitcoin dropped below $90,000. As you will know, we talked about right here on this very channel about how Bitcoin was going to drop back down to at least $94,000, if not down to $91,000 to fill the CME futures gap on October the 14th. And we have now seen that take place. But more recently, we've also talked about the fact that Bitcoin was likely going to come down here and hit a lot of these leverage longs. Many people had leverage longs and their liquidation price was at $90,000 and $89,000, and those have now been liquidated. And that might be the reset and the catalyst that Bitcoin needs to be able to go into a new uptrend. So today, let's talk about whether or not the bottom is here or whether or not a bear market is starting. Crypto Twitter is completely divided. It is 50-50 right now. Half of people, almost exactly half of people think we're going into a bear market. Almost half of the other people think that we're going into a super cycle. I tend to lean in that direction until proven otherwise, but we've got a lot of things that we need to talk about. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Speaking of diving, Bitcoin has been doing that. It has crashed faster than I have probably ever seen it before. Bitcoin has dropped almost $38,000 in 43 days. There's a couple of major observations that come to mind with this. The first thing is this crash is significantly faster and steeper than the other crashes we've had this cycle. This does indicate that there's something going on that's causing this velocity, and there are a couple of different major theories. The first major theory would be that we're approaching the end of the four-year halving cycle, and given that we are approximately 1,064 days post previous high, then that is a possibility, 1,400 days post previous high, about 4 years on, about 210,000 blocks on, then that would be possibly a reason to believe that Bitcoin is done with this cycle. You know, if you look here, you can see Bitcoin is about 1,064 days into the cycle. That would be the four-year halving cycle theory at play, and that would give you some kind of understanding about why Bitcoin is dropping much more steeply here. But I actually think it's a lot more than that. I don't think it's quite as simple as four-year halving cycle causing a bear market. I think what is going on right here is that when the 1010 crash happened, which I still believe was a very heavily manipulated event by market makers to be able to take some liquidity from you, when that occurred, we saw $20 billion of longs get liquidated, and I think somebody went bankrupt. I don't know who. It hasn't come out yet, but I think that there has been some forced selling going on Bitcoin over the last few weeks as a result of the 1010 crash. I think that we have seen that show up very clearly in eras such as this on the 15-minute chart, dropping here below $100,000. Basically what this looks like, Bitcoin dropped 5% in 3 hours. We had 16 red candlesticks in a row on Thursday, November the 13th last week. This looks like somebody, not emotionally, but systematically is exiting out of a major position, selling hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin directly onto the open market. So probably because Bitcoin was coming down here and approaching $100,000, and basically this was most likely, and probably this too, these were most likely some kind of major market maker essentially putting a stop loss to say we have to sell above $100,000 or we go bankrupt, we go insolvent. And I think that's what really drove us down here below $100,000. Of course, we originally dropped it right down here to our exact price target of $94,000. And we fell beneath this target as well, dropping down here to do a couple of things. The first thing that we did was we filled the CME futures gap, which is fantastic because that gives us the flush out and the confidence that we need to potentially go higher. But we also fell down here and filled a great multitude of leverage longs. A lot of them got liquidated. A lot of liquidations have taken place on Bitcoin over just the last few days, and that is possibly the reset that Bitcoin needed to be able to go higher. As you can see up here, if we just look right here, there have been quite a few leverage longs knocked out over just the last 24 hours or so. And so what I am expecting Bitcoin is going to do from here is it's going to fight tooth and nail to hold this bottom. But if it doesn't, if it does drop below $88,000, then there is a very high likelihood that Bitcoin is going to end up going through a major correction. That would probably lead us into a bear market at 75,000. Now, I'm not going to be able to do a very long video today because I'm actually extremely sick, but I do want to just basically give you the rundown, and here's the TLDR. If Bitcoin cannot hold above $89,000, its current local bottom, if it starts dropping much lower, down to 88 or so, there's a very high likelihood that we're going to go into a bear market down to $75,000. So just keep that in mind. be aware that we need to be very, very cautious. We need to be protecting capital. We need to be bear market proofing our portfolio and our finances, and we need to be pursuing peace over prosperity so that we have the ability to stay solvent, not going bankrupt, and none of that kind of nonsense in a bear market. So please make sure that you protect yourself in the event that a bear market does occur, because we are right there on its door. If Bitcoin drops much farther, then that will most likely be the end of this bull market. So we'll give you guys more updates on that as time goes on. One thing I do want to mention before we wrap it out is that you guys should definitely make sure to go and sign up for Phemex. If you have not already, Phemex is a phenomenal cryptocurrency exchange that is going to allow you to succeed by giving you the platform that you need and the tools that you need to trade in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space. Please, as always, be very careful with risk management and risk mitigation, and we're going to be actually launching a free course in partnership with Phemex pretty soon to go over how to trade profitably. But if you're interested in trading Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, Phemex is a phenomenal place to do it. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Sorry it was a shorter one. I have caught a stomach bug, which I suppose here at the bottom, the Lord has said, Jeb, it is a day for you to pray and fast, as I'm throwing up and praying over the over the altar. Like, God, I don't want to throw up anymore. So I'm gonna go probably throw up. So TMI, appreciate you being here. Sorry the video wasn't longer, but man, I really feel terrible. And no, it's not because the market's crashing. My son gave me a stomach bug, because children, you know how they are. They just love to share. They're just the kindest people. Anyway, appreciate you guys being here. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow when I am probably feeling better. And before I go, I love you so much. Peace.